Tonight, target Trump. The former president survives a second assassination attempt while playing golf.
Confusion as Perth Airport refuses to explain what went wrong on the runway.
Exclusive, the leader of a secretive religious sect operating in Perth confronted as former members speak out.
A family's heartbreak and shock after a Perth bodybuilder's death, left alone and unnoticed for 15 hours.
The government's rent to build fix falls apart as a Perth mum sounds the alarm over homeless kids.
And leading contender, a new frontrunner in the Eagles coaching race.
Live from Perth, 7 News with Rick Ardon and Susannah Carr.
Good evening. Donald Trump has survived a second assassination attempt. This time, the gunman was stopped before he could take a shot at the former US president.
The lone sniper was hiding in bushes at Trump's Florida golf course. He was ready for an ambush when the Secret Service spotted his weapon and opened fire.
His golf course, tonight a crime scene. The former president whisked home under guard to his nearby Mar-a-Lago estate as the man intent on taking his life, Ryan Wesley Routh, stares down an FBI interrogation.
This is about good versus evil.
Online posts paint a picture of a man in his 50s and highly critical of Donald Trump, a list of prior run-ins with the law. Lately, he was committed to enlisting foreign fighters in Ukraine.
My initial goal was to come fight.
And the FBI says fighting was his goal today.
The U.S. Secret Service personnel opened fire on a gunman located near the property line.
That line, the Trump International Golf Course. The Republican nominee was between holes 5 and 6 when the advanced Secret Service details spotted the threat some 300 metres from the former president and opened fire.
He was able to spot this rifle barrel sticking out of the fence and immediately engage that individual.
Trump was bundled into a golf cart and carried away to the clubhouse where he was locked down. The gunman's high-powered weapons seen here with backpacks and a camera.
I think one has like a rifle.
As he made a run for it.
Fortunately, we were able to locate a witness that came to us and said, hey, I saw the guy running out of the bushes, and they spotted the vehicle and pulled it over.
Confirming his safety, Donald Trump pictured smiling, a thumbs up with Speaker Mike Johnson before declaring, "Nothing will slow me down. I will never surrender." He's now survived 2 attempts on his life in just 2 months.
What is clear is that President Trump is safe. That is a good thing.
I probably took a bullet to the head because of the things that they say about me.
Vice President Harris wishing her rival well, reiterating violence has no place in America. In the United States, David Woywood, 7 News.
Our Premier is demanding Perth Airport urgently explain why a large part of the runway was blasted from the ground. Flights and passengers haven't been significantly affected, but the incident has raised safety concerns about ongoing maintenance.
A plane prepares for takeoff. Behind it, the tarmac torn to shreds. Smoke billows as it peels off the pavement, leaving a runway ripped apart. 13-year-old Mitchell caught it all on camera.
I was quite concerned what exactly it was.
It happened around 12:15 yesterday, the A330 Qantas flight QF71 bound for Singapore.
The surface has only been recently laid just because of the new renewal works going on.
Shock at first. The airport's main runway only partly operational, flights forced to land on a shorter stretch.
Any part of the runway that's not properly secured down will likely blow up in the event of an 800-kilometre jet blast on it.
Maintenance conducted urgent repair work overnight on runway 3, back up and running today, but Perth Airport declined to comment.
Perth Airport is a key piece of economic infrastructure for Western Australia. We use it for our mining industry, we use it for our tourism industry. It's important for trade.
Qantas has told 7 News they aren't to blame and the fault lies with Perth Airport, who are now faced with a significant repair bill.
If an aircraft is behind where the join is and it sucks in all the grit, it would cause severe damage to the engines and would be a big safety problem.
No flights have been delayed or cancelled. Resurfacing works are scheduled to continue until mid-November.
Well, we're certainly looking for an explanation from Perth Airport.
The answers left up in the air. Francesca Danuccio, 7 News.
Now to a special 7 News investigation triggered by red flags raised about a South Korean religious movement that's targeting young people across Perth.
People who'd signed up say they quickly became isolated with what they call a cult controlling money and relationships. Nick Overall has this warning.
Future me, let's be still fully. Wow.
In a secret class behind closed doors, row after row of students chant together. This is the Church of Shincheonji, known as one of the fastest growing cults in Australia. Universities and shopping centres like Forest Chase have become recruiting hotspots. In 2019, Matt Thomas fell victim.
I missed all the red flags, and it just, in my perception, was just a normal Bible study that I was getting involved with.
As the months went by, he says he was pulled away from his family and became more controlled by the highly secretive church.
How I looked, how I spoke, who I was allowed to speak to, the relationships that I was allowed to carry, what I do with my money and my assets, everything started going towards them.
Shincheonji originates in South Korea and worships a man named Lee Man-hee. Members are taught he will save them from the end times. Some donate thousands of dollars. For Matt, the doctrine came to consume his life.
That came down to as little as 4 hours of sleep a night, a number of car accidents within a 4-year span, just due to sleep deprivation.
Other ex-members say the group targets international students and those on their own.
I remember when I kept asking questions, they just started saying that, you need to be careful, this could be, the devil trying to pull you away.
I was really heartbroken. I cried for weeks. For weeks, I was just in my room crying.
Jim Spencer's daughter is a current member. He fears he's losing her.
It devastates me that we had this well-structured family environment and relationship, and that is basically gone. She's not the person she used to be.
It's prayer sessions like these members have to attend. Windows blacked out, covered by tables. In Perth, they are impossible to contact. But 7 News tracks down the local leader, John Huang.
Nick Overall from 7 News. Can I ask you some questions about Shincheonji?
Sorry, can I not be interviewed right now?
Well, there are some pretty concerning claims from a lot of former members. Will you address those?
He refused an interview.
Can we get your contact details and we can arrange something?
For the last year, this has been the group's headquarters, an unmarked office in Leaderville where students come and go.
In July, the town of Cambridge unanimously voted down an application from the group to turn the office into a teaching base. Now it's understood they're trying to establish a headquarters elsewhere.
Kids are not, they're not safe. These people are so clever.
Some of those who have escaped the group have needed years of counselling. They've set up a support network.
It's not scary outside here. It's fine. This is just what they tell you so that you do not leave.
Now they want others to know that outside the church there is a community for them. Nick Overall, 7 News.
And you can read more on Nick Overall's special investigation right now at 7news.com.au. That story is live now with insight from cult survivors and what you can do if you're worried about your children.
The family of a Perth father who was found dead inside a gym shower 15 hours after he collapsed has made an emotional plea for change within the fitness industry. Daniela Peroni wants an inquest into her son's death and more duty of care in gyms that operate 24 hours a day but often without staff.
Giuliano Peroni was a bodybuilder on a mission, but last month after a workout he collapsed in a Wanneroo gym shower at 7:30 in the morning. The 33-year-old father lay unnoticed for 15 hours until police knocked the door down. He died 2 weeks later.
The CCTV shows that he wasn't feeling well, he staggered to the bathrooms and he collapsed.
It was a 24-hour gym, always open, not always staffed.
I have a shower now and I think of my son under that shower for 15 hours, cold water running on him. And I was just home cooking and if I knew I could have done something, I didn't know anything.
Giuliano's family want a coronial inquest. They say changes are needed, requiring gym members to check in and out.
If someone stays at the gym 2.5 hours, 3 max, after that, something should flag up. Or something should say, OK, where is this person? They're still at the gym. Let me go check to see if they're OK.
Doctors told Giuliano's family that it appears his blood sugar dropped extremely low and he may have had a seizure. But if he had been found even a couple of hours after he collapsed, then he may have survived. The owner of the gym says our thoughts and prayers are with Giuliano's family at this difficult time, and we remain committed to maintaining a safe, secure and accessible environment, and will continue to look into further improvements. Industry bodies are taking note.
We will take the opportunity to review our code of practice to see what recommendations we do make to our members particularly, but also to the sector generally.
And making a plea for people to look out for each other.
Everybody's a me. They don't care for who's next to you. What happened?
Just notice, just take note.
Chantel Tui, 7 News.
The ABC is in damage control tonight, launching an investigation into its own reporting and deleting an online video that depicted Australian soldiers firing on unarmed Afghan civilians. Channel 7 Spotlight revealed the clip's audio was doctored, with extra gunshots added in.
After 4 tours fighting the Taliban,
personally I killed 7.
Retired Commando Heston Russell's now fighting the ABC.
Watching, this taxpayer-funded organisation going to the lengths of altering footage, adding gunshots.
The national broadcaster forced to remove this online video. A clip Russell says was doctored to look like he was shooting at unarmed civilians.
Literally made up.
In the original helmet cam footage, Russell says it was one of his team who fired a warning shot at an insurgent. As the man runs into a compound and picks up what looks like a weapon, Russell, on the right, gives the order to open fire. But in the ABC clip, the single warning shot becomes 6.
It completely misrepresents what those soldiers were going through that day.
The ABC says an error has been identified and it's seeking more information on how this occurred.
We've trashed our Afghanistan veterans' reputation.
The story published in the middle of a defamation trial. Russell successfully suing the ABC for depicting him as a war criminal. A senior ABC insider describes the doctored clip as a 5-star stuff-up, and they say there's a lot of finger-pointing going on within the organisation today, with hard questions being asked about who's to blame coming from the very top.
If the ABC want to try and say this is an error, we have more evidence of what they've been up to.
Rob Scott, 7 News.
More than a decade after he was left for dead on the side of a road in Broom, an inquest into the death of Joshua Warneke has finally begun. It's one of our state's most controversial cold cases after a botched police investigation jailed the wrong man and delayed any hope of justice.
It's the brutal roadside murder that's haunted Broom for almost 15 years. Joshua Warneke's death has left more questions than answers.
What I want is fresh eyes, a new unbiased exploration of scenarios.
The coroner began by retracing Josh's final steps. The 21-year-old left a nightclub in February 2010. He stopped at McDonald's and was walking home. 5 minutes later, he was dead. How and by who? A mystery. Competing medical experts claim the 21-year-old was either hit by a car, slashed with a weapon, or both. The taxi driver who called 000 described a lot of blood. This walk was requested by the family to take the matter out of court. Remember, Josh was a young man out enjoying his life when he was struck down by someone who has never come forward. Jean Gibson spent 5 years in prison, wrongfully convicted of manslaughter. The corruption watchdog found systematic failures in the police investigation.
The last 14 and a half years has taught me many things, and one thing it's taught me is to always anticipate the worst and keep your expectations real, so that's what I'm doing.
Dozens of witnesses will be called, but 15 years on, some couldn't be found. Other memories will be tested in a new effort to track down a killer. In Broom, Lucy Murray, 7 News.
Federal Labor's plan to build 1.2 million homes to ease the squeeze has hit a roadblock in the Senate. The coalition has rejected two pieces of legislation, leaving Anthony Albanese to negotiate with the Greens.
A paddock, soon to be a suburb, with 17 low-cost and public houses, the first of 14,000 from the government's Housing Australia Future Fund.
Yep, the Australian dream, they call it.
As the government's two other proposed housing schemes become a political nightmare, stuck in the Senate.
We are building, the coalition and the Greens have been blocking.
The first, the Help to Buy scheme, the government providing up to 40% of the equity, so 40,000 low to medium income families can own a home.
This is a scheme where the government comes in as the bank of mum and dad.
The second scheme, Build to Rent, offering tax incentives for developers to put new properties on the rental market. The coalition opposes both.
Australians don't want to co-own a home with the government. They don't want Anthony Albanese sitting at the kitchen table.
It's time for all parties to put aside entrenched political positions.
Little evidence of that, though, as the Greens now have the casting votes and accuse the government of refusing to negotiate over their demands to slash negative gearing and other tax breaks for investors.
It's clear that the Prime Minister doesn't like the Greens, but it's time to act like an adult.
The key is the coalition getting out of the way.
I'm sorry, Mr Prime Minister, but that's not actually how democracy works.
Demanding he become a consensus builder. Mark Riley, 7 News.
Australian star Elizabeth Debicki has been crowned Best Supporting Actress at the Emmys for her role as Princess Diana, a part she called a privilege and a gift.
A period piece and the controversial hit Baby Reindeer were the big winners of the night.
Father and son hosts reigning over TV royalty.
We've all done salacious tell-alls with the BBC to get back at a lying, cheating ex, like Elizabeth Debicki in The Crown.
But the Aussie had the last laugh, taking home her first ever Emmy for her portrayal of Princess Diana in The Crown.
Playing this part based on this unparalleled, incredible human being has been my great privilege. It has been a gift. Thank you so very much.
But the night belonged to
Shogun.
The Japanese period piece cleaned up, setting a new record, 18 Emmys for one season.
Arigatou gozaimasu.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Baby Reindeer, the popular and controversial runaway hit with 6 gongs for the night.
Follow your heart and the rest will fall into place.
The Bear and Emmy's Beast, 11 awards.
Thank you so much. My heart is just beating right out of its chest.
The Emmys is all about celebrating the big hits of today, but tonight's show features a bit of nostalgia with a look back on some fan favourites. Ron Howard and Henry Winkler reuniting to celebrate the 50th anniversary of Happy Days and a quarter-century anniversary for political drama The West Wing.
Unlike today, where storylines can be plucked right off the news, storylines that writers would have deemed a bit far-fetched, if not utterly ridiculous 25 years ago.
Like a girl from Melbourne, the daughter of ballet dancers, bringing a princess back to life. In Hollywood, Miley Hogan, 7 News.
And Sam Jolly joins us now. Our warm and sunny run continues, Sam.
Spring has been showing off, Sue. We've had above average temperatures and clear skies for the past 7 days, and there is more of the same to come. Today we reached our maximum just after 3:30 this afternoon, exactly 24 degrees in the city. Overnight it dipped to 12. Most suburbs hovered around 23 to 24 degrees today. It was cooler in Bickley, 21 there. We had a mostly easterly to northeasterly wind flow across the metro area, and we can see what's causing our sunny conditions. A west coast trough is driving warm, dry air into southwestern parts, and there's this dominant high impacting the whole south of the country. There is rain on the new forecast, not a lot, but I'll tell you when it's due a bit later, Rick and Sue.
Thanks, Sam. Still to come tonight, restaurant nightmare.
An awful taxi accident. What police say triggered the violent moments before a Northbridge crash. Next.
Details of a major maternity upgrade earmarked for a hospital in Perth's north.
Europe hit by catastrophic flooding with more danger on the way.
And later, discount scripts, where to find the cheapest medication.
The 7 News app will give you the news you want. Download now.
A man's been charged with grievous bodily harm, accused of attacking a taxi driver, causing a crash in Northbridge early yesterday morning. The 37-year-old remains under guard in hospital after a bedside hearing today. Police are yet to reveal what sparked the disagreement that allegedly turned violent moments after the driver picked up 4 passengers.
A worker was taken to hospital with minor injuries after a car ploughed into a bookshop in Willetton this afternoon. The driver, a woman in her 80s, wasn't hurt and so far hasn't been charged.
Maternity services in our northern suburbs will get a boost with plans to set up a facility for expectant and new mums struggling with their mental health. The new unit is part of a controversial move to shift Perth's new women's hospital south of the river to Murdoch.
They've been bringing babies into the world here at Osborne Park since 1962. Baby Maya is the newest arrival, born at 7:41 this morning. A second child for Mum Danby and Dad Narong.
And apparently, today is Maya's birthday. Yes, this morning.
With King Edward Memorial Hospital headed for closure and its replacement to be built south at Murdoch, Osborne Park services will be expanded to cater for northern suburbs families. A new mother and baby unit, a high dependency unit, new theatres and birthing suites.
This is a big footprint for a hospital of this size, so we envisage that this hospital will get bigger and better.
The changes dovetail into the $1.8 billion plan to build a new women's and babies hospital next to Fiona Stanley Hospital at Murdoch. The government is seeking public consultation.
We want to hear from women not only around the maternity services that they require, but also their gynaecological services.
Maternity services will be a hot button issue come the next election. The Liberal opposition wants to build the new maternity hospital at QE2. The government expects to sign the contract before the election next March, making it harder for any future government to wind back the deal. Jeff Parry, 7 News.
At least 7 people have been confirmed dead and several others are missing as Storm Boris continues to lash Central and Eastern Europe. Dams burst in Poland, swamping streets and forcing thousands to evacuate. The flooding has triggered a state of emergency at the Slovakian capital of Bratislava, while Austria's capital, Vienna, has been declared a disaster zone.
An elderly woman has been killed and dozens of other residents injured after a Russian-guided bomb struck a block of flats in Ukraine. The blast in the city of Kharkiv blew out windows and sparked a fire. When one man refused to leave without his dog, firefighters winched the pooch to safety. Forced to flee.
A Perth family's home gutted. Next in 7 News, a mother and children escape this Thornley nightmare.
A single mum's plea for more crisis support for a growing number of homeless kids.
Jobs on the line, the Prime Minister's verdict on nature-positive reforms.
And are discount chemists all they're cracked up to be? A 7 News investigation. That's later. A mother and 2 children escaped unhurt but are tonight homeless after a blaze in Thornley.
They ran to shelter next door but could only watch helplessly as their home and everything in it was destroyed.
A family helplessly watches on as their home is consumed by a fierce inferno. This was 11 o'clock last night on Grundy Way in Thornley.
It was devastating, you know. It's just so sad to see something like that happen to a young family.
Fire crews swarmed the street after the blaze ignited in the garage. A mother, her 2 primary school children and their dog still inside. They fled to a neighbour's. She'd already rang the fire brigades, made 2 calls to them, but there was nothing that anybody could do. It took crews just minutes to bring it under control, but the damage was done.
Not a single room of the home could be saved, but thankfully everyone inside at the time was able to escape without injury.
An accident that's left a family searching for a new place to call home, but lucky to still have each other. Material things get replaced, but lives don't. Nick Overall, 7 News.
And another Perth home was badly damaged by fire this afternoon. It took crews around 45 minutes to put out the flames, which destroyed half the house on Harding Street in Hilbert.
Like in a few minutes, like just seconds, the fire was like really high, and now the whole house is gone.
Fortunately, no one was inside at the time.
The PM has ruled out any deal with the Greens that would embed a climate trigger in Labor's controversial nature-positive laws.
They need to get out of the way and stop coming up with excuses and start voting for solutions.
WA industry leaders have warned projects worth up to $131 billion could be jeopardised if reforms to environmental approvals go too far.
A single mother paying $250 a week for a room says Perth's housing crisis is now forcing women and children into unsafe living arrangements. She's speaking out after being told all shelters were full or adult only, with nowhere to take her daughter for a shower.
Evicted from a relative's rental, this Perth mother had nowhere to turn.
Everything's maxed out, full up, stretched beyond its limits.
Did that break you, Nellie?
It did break me. I understand if there's no beds, there's no beds. And I began asking, I'm planning to sleep rough. Where can I take my daughter to shower? Where can I microwave her some mac and cheese for dinner? They just said, we don't know. There's nothing.
She spent one night at a friend's, the next 6 at a motel, hiding the truth from her 7-year-old daughter.
We, spend a lot of time in parks and things. I don't explain to her that it's because we don't have anywhere else to go.
After rejecting offers of friendship from men who told her beggars can't be choosers, they're now paying $250 a week to share a bed in a single room in a share house, victims of Perth's record low rental vacancy rate.
That's why you've seen an unprecedented number of measures, both to boost housing supply, but also provide support for homelessness services and through our rental relief program.
I don't have a power bill when you're homeless. That's no help. The zoo credit's going to be wonderful. That's going to be a nice distraction during the holidays.
She's one of more than 20,000 applicants on the public housing waitlist, each waiting more than 2 years for a place to call home. That's reduced to a mere 71 weeks for those on the priority list. The government has promised to help this mother get on it.
She can come in to the department, they can sit down with her and actually help her fill out the application forms.
But others are still falling through the cracks of a rental market that's bursting.
The new normal is homeless children in Australia. And it's just disgusting.
Across Perth, Rockingham and Mandurah, 88 children under 16 were sleeping rough in July. 88 too many. Jessica Page, 7 News.
The Comanchero outlaw motorcycle gang has filmed a Hollywood-style promotional video hoping to recruit new members. It shows bikies living the high life, but police say don't believe everything you see.
An apparent day in the life of a self-confessed outlaw. This flashy video shows members of the Comanchero bikie gang with expensive accessories, luxury boats, and even a private plane.
That's a clever bit of marketing, but the footage that we see is nothing like that at all. I've seen them in jail and in handcuffs.
A production crew was called in to film this year's annual run, with around 100 bikies marking the 40th anniversary of the Milpera massacre. The 5-minute clip uploaded to YouTube, the heavy police presence carefully edited out. The ride was held in Canberra, where, unlike New South Wales, it's still legal for bikies to gather and wear their colours.
They do look weird though, sort of a weird organisation. Kind of baffles me why you'd want to join.
But that's the purpose of the video, to recruit. And even though it's promoting a criminal group, the government doesn't have the power to take it down.
It's up to YouTube to enforce their own terms of reference and decide whether this lives up to their terms and conditions.
In the past 5 years, the bikie gang has lost a third of its members. Many are now behind bars and others have simply stepped away.
Once you put that Comanchero vest on, or any AMCG vest on, you become a target of ours.
Natasha Squarey, 7 News.
Still to come tonight, going ape.
An American gaming champion in a showdown with an Aussie YouTube star. The court case that has fans flying in from around the world.
Is the royal rift easing? Promising signs on Prince Harry's 40th birthday.
And coming up in sport, a new favourite for the Eagles coaching job, plus a star cat pushes for a fairy tale finish, and the basketball world descends on WA.
Now, Fuel Watch. Perth's petrol prices brought to you by Fuel Watch and 7 News.
The Australian share market has closed up 22 points at an all-time high today. Shares in mining company Alcoa soared after news it's selling its Saudi Arabian joint venture. The iron ore price slipped, ending the day under $93 a tonne. One Australian dollar is currently buying 67.37 US cents.
A defamation trial between a US arcade champion and a Brisbane YouTuber over the game Donkey Kong is stirring up international headlines. The Donkey Kong lawsuit is poised to send shockwaves around the gaming world, with some travelling 14 hours to witness it.
In the golden age of arcades, Billy Mitchell was the master who conquered Kong.
World Record Headquarters, can I help you?
Barrelling his way to multiple Donkey Kong world records, the first to claim a perfect game in Pac-Man.
When you want your name written into history, you have to pay the price.
But now the Florida native has a new score to settle in a Brisbane courtroom, arguing local YouTuber Carl Jobst defamed him in a 2021 video which alleged Mitchell's lawsuit against a US critic led to his suicide.
These claims and that story are demonstrably false.
Mr. Jobst is relying on a truth defence, while the US gaming icon is seeking reputational damages of close to $500,000. This the tipping point in a 4-year feud between the pair, including accusations Billy Mitchell cheated his way to Donkey Kong high scores. For a time, Guinness World Records agreed, scrubbing his achievements before reinstating them after legal action. There is such a huge interest in this unique case. Fans and gaming commentators packed one entire courtroom. Some have travelled 14 hours from the US to be here for the 6-day trial. A multiplayer defamation battle with both fighting to avoid an expensive game over. Garth Burley, 7 News.
Some are hoping it's a sign tensions may be thawing. The royal family is publicly wishing Prince Harry a happy 40th birthday online. The Prince and Princess of Wales also extended their well wishes. It's the first time in 3 years the family has acknowledged Harry's birthday on social media.
Perhaps at best this might be another sort of olive branch, a digital olive branch from the King.
Harry celebrated the day with his wife and children at home in California. More discount pharmacies are popping up across our suburbs, but how do they stack up on price and safety? Well, we've compared essential household medical supplies from a variety of outlets, where you can save and what to watch out for. Don't miss that story soon on 7 News.
But first, Ryan has sport, and there's a development in the Eagles coaching search.
Yeah, that's right, Sue and Rick. A new leading contender has emerged. Details on who it is straight after the break. Plus, a selection squeeze, a star cat pushes for a fairy tale finish. And Perfect Piastri, the young Aussie, claims another Grand Prix. To breaking news first, and the West Coast Eagles are closing in on a new coach, with Collingwood assistant Hayden Skipworth emerging as the leading candidate to land the role. 7 News understands the highly rated Skipworth has become a focus of the Eagles coaching selection panel, impressing with his game development and modern game plan principles. The 41-year-old has been part of the Collingwood coaching panel since 2020, playing a key role in the Pies' 2023 premiership success under Craig McRae. He also spent time on the Essendon coaching staff under John Worsfold. As a player, he represented the Crows and the Bombers in 55 games. Andrew McWalter and Stephen King are the other 2 candidates in the race, but Skipworth has emerged as the leading contender. Geelong forward Jeremy Cameron has thrown his support behind Tom Hawkins as the veteran forward fights for a final spot. The selection drama comes with Tom Stewart set to make a return for Saturday's date with the Lions.
Refreshed after a week off, Jeremy Cameron found a way to unwind at home.
I put in a veggie garden So it's that time of year, spring, you know, I love it.
But it was a different story for teammate Gary Rowan, sporting a gruesome reminder of surgery on his fractured skull last week, already back with teammates and doing light drills. The club says Tom Stewart is fit from a hamstring concern after missing against Port Adelaide with illness, experience needed against a hungry Brisbane Lions.
You have to play right until the final siren, so I think we've learned a lot from the season that we've had.
But Tom Hawkins and Cam Guthrie will be up against it to reclaim their spot in the side. Hawkins more motivated than ever for a swan song appearance.
He's given himself every chance, and that's all you can ask for from a great teammate.
The Cats have only played one final here, and that was in 2013. But while they've been denied the home ground advantage in September, Cameron says a full MCG still excites.
We have to win it up the road anyway.
Laura Spurway, 7 News.
And tomorrow in the West, the first edition of Danny Laidley's 2024 season player rankings. Every Eagles player, every Freo player, the ultimate WA footy countdown starts tomorrow, only in the West. WA will be the centre of the basketball universe this week for Hoops Fest. The Wildcats playing host to the rest of the NBL, and the club's new #1 ticket holder, who we can reveal tonight, is Nick Natanui. Here's Barra.
It's still the most watched vision on the Wildcats homepage. Nick Natanui dunking over the court announcer 12 years ago. Nick Nat, the top cat now after taking over from legendary Channel 7 commentator Dennis Cometti.
Super excited to be the #1 ticket holder for the mighty Wildcats. Can't wait to get down there to every game at RAC Arena.
The Deputy Premier with her own slam dunk today.
Yeah. Beautiful.
The atmosphere will be great, and it's a way of showcasing world-class basketball here in Perth.
Hoops Fest, the country's biggest basketball festival, starts in Perth on Thursday with a bang. How about the new spectacular $5 million Jumbotron super screen?
So you can see all 10 NBL teams playing their opening game of the Hungry Jacks season here in Perth, all 8 WNBL teams playing a pre-season tournament, and 32 teams from across the country competing in the Under-18 Club Championships.
A blockbuster lineup will take place at RAC Arena, HBF Stadium, the Bendat Centre and HBF Arena. And then there's Sneakerland, Australia's largest sneaker and streetwear convention.
It's such an incredible opportunity to have not only heroes across NBL and WNBL, but also some of the greatest NBA players that have ever played.
Thousands are expected to travel for this festival of basketball. Fans like twin boys Carmelo and Anthony, thrilled to be attending this first of its kind event and super excited to be meeting one of their heroes, Carmelo Anthony, the 10-time NBA All-Star. Adrian Barrage, 7 News.
I reckon they were named after him. Australia's Oscar Piastri has come of age, winning his second race of the Formula One season, and his proud mum was trackside for the celebrations.
No longer is Oscar Piastri the next big star. He's already made it.
Oscar Piastri wins the Azerbaijan Grand Prix.
What a day that was. Thanks, everyone. Thank you, thank you.
2 wins in the space of 2 months. This time, Mum Nicole was one of the first to congratulate him in Baku.
There's no such thing as a relaxing lap around here, so it was hard work, but no, I think that definitely goes down as one of my better races of my career.
His move on lap 20 was where it was won.
For the lead of this race, Piastri down the inside, late on the brakes, makes the move stick.
And he didn't look back. It comes just days after being told he'd play second fiddle to Lando Norris at McLaren for the rest of the season.
Considering where we started when I joined the team last year, we were literally last.
Yeah, one of the best drives I've ever seen him pull off, obviously under a lot of pressure, world class to say the least. He's a ride, but keeping the feet on the ground and keep working hard.
The win shoots McLaren to the lead of the Constructors' Championship, Piastri fourth in the drivers' standings. A dramatic end to the race saw Carlos Sainz and Sergio Perez crash with 1 lap to go, denying them a spot on the podium.
Is she crazy or what? Idiot.
Tim Hipsley, 7 News.
West Australian speedster Marley Beardman has earned a bolt from the blue call-up to Australia's one-day international squad. Beardman from Margaret River has played just 1 game of 50-over cricket for WA, but left for England today ahead of a 5-match series which starts on Thursday night.
Just incredible, so unexpected. I'm just going to try and be as much of a sponge as possible and learn off those boys. They've been doing it so well for so long now. I think guys like Mitch Stark and Hoff and those boys, that's just unbelievable knowledge.
It's likely the 19-year-old has been included largely as a development opportunity, but is not without a chance of making a shock debut. Pressure's starting to mount, but Ange Postecoglou remains defiant. After a 1-0 loss to Arsenal, the Tottenham manager doubled down on his pre-season claim that he usually wins trophies in his second year in charge.
Absolutely, and I think I'll correct myself. I don't usually win things, I always win things in my second year. Nothing's changed.
Spurs are 13th on the table after one win from 4 games. So Hayden Skipworth leading the Eagles race, guys. I spoke to a lot of people who know him today. Very, very highly rated. They couldn't have spoken higher.
Thanks, swings Ryan. Around, doesn't it?
It does.
How soon should we know, do you think?
I reckon within a week or so. Okay. Yeah.
Very interesting. Thank you. As cost of living pressures bite households across our country, more Australians are looking at how to save money, including at the pharmacy.
From discount chemists to online retailers, where can you save and what are the risks?
From cut-price chemists to supermarket shelves, the options are endless for over-the-counter medication.
I usually head to Chemist Warehouse because there's usually a sale on what I need.
We did a price check at Chemist Warehouse and Priceline Pharmacy, major supermarkets Coles and Woolworths, as well as eBay. On our shopping list, vitamin C, a probiotic, Panadol and cold and flu.
People are struggling to afford their medicines. We regularly hear of people who are rationing medicines.
For 300 Synovus tablets, the price difference ranged from $18.50 at Woolworths down to $7.25 on special at Coles. eBay also under $10 and free postage. 40 probiotic tablets were $14 cheaper on eBay compared to the major supermarkets. Chemist Warehouse and Priceline only offered a pack of 60. For Panadol Rapid, prices were pretty consistent, only $1 difference between all 5. The cost of a 20-pack of cold and flu was slashed by Woolies and Coles. At the pharmacies, it cost more for more tablets. eBay, the dearest.
Any over-the-counter product that's regulated by the Therapeutic Goods Administration will have an identification number on the packaging. If it doesn't, the TGA says there are no guarantees about its safety.
Safety is really important when we talk about people buying their medicine. Just buy beware. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
A double check to save you a dose of trouble. Georgia Holland, 7 News.
Sam Jolly's back and we have a warm day tomorrow, Sam.
Rick, it's going to be our hottest day on the forecast. We do have the chance of some rain coming though. I'll tell you when right after the break. Welcome back. We haven't had a drop of rain in Perth for 9 days now, and it has been much warmer than average. Today we reached our maximum just after 3:30 this afternoon. It was exactly 24 degrees in the city, and overnight it dipped to 12. Right now it's still hovering around 19 degrees and the winds are calm. Most suburbs got to 23 or 24 degrees today. It was cooler in Bickley, just 21 degrees there, and we had a mostly easterly to northeasterly wind flow across the metro area. And we can see what's causing our sunny conditions. A west coast trough is driving warm, dry air into southwestern parts, and there's this dominant high impacting the south of the country. Taking a look at the national forecast now, cloudy and 14 for Hobart tomorrow. A frosty start for Canberra, just -1. Sunny and 22 in Sydney and 24 degrees for Brisbane tomorrow. And statewide, it's looking hot and windy for the Kimberley and Pilbara with the odd shower in parts, but clear and sunny pretty much for the rest of the state. And on local waters, east to northeasterly winds 10 to 15 knots, becoming light and variable during the morning, then southerly in the late afternoon. Seas below 1 metre and the swell west to southwesterly around 1 metre. So we're dipping to 12 tonight. Then tomorrow is looking great. Sunny and 27 degrees. That is well above average. Then sunny and 24 on Wednesday. Mostly sunny, 23 for Thursday. It's cooling to 21 on Friday, but it is staying sunny. And to kick off the school holidays, sunny and 22 degrees on Saturday. Even warmer for our Sunday with a top of 25. Next Monday, we have a slight chance of a shower. Now for tonight's winning lotto numbers, they are 36, 24, 30, 31, 15, and those supplementaries are 45 and 27. Those numbers again, 36, 24, 30, 31, 15, and the supplementaries 45 and 27. Sue and Rick.
Thanks, Sam. And that's 7 News Live on this Monday night. We'll have updates for you throughout the evening.
For the latest stories and more on our cult investigation, head to 7news.com.au. Enjoy the rest of your night here on 7.